Howdy, partners. Welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum Podcast's Red Hot Action Summer. This year, we're not going to a specific era. Instead, we're heading out west in what we're calling Westward Ho. This time, you'll find American Westerns from all kinds of eras. There's sure to be some Clint Eastwood, some Peckinpah, and even John Wayne, with a couple surprises thrown in as well. So tell your ma and pa, come on out, saddle up, and listen in all August for Red Hot Action Summer, Westward Ho. Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Ryan from closewaytation.com, and I'm joined with my co-host, Martin.
How's it going?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well. We are nearing the end of our Red Hot Action Summer this time. We've been through a few episodes here as we've gone westward on Westward Ho, covering all kinds of American Westerns. If you've been paying attention, we've been doing different eras of the American Western. We've been trying to hit them, most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them, including stuff like Clint Eastwood movies. We had to get John Wayne in there, even though he's not really our favorite. And today we're actually going back to more of a classic style film, one that has already been remade, for one thing, based off of a book by Elmore Leonard, which I have not read, although I do like Elmore Leonard. He's a great writer, has done a lot of stuff that I like. I've read a few of his novels, and I'm a huge fan of Justified, which are based off of his short stories. So that's always a plus to see a movie from him. And to be honest with you, too, very surprising that he had such an illustrious career, because this film released in 1957, which means the novel, I didn't bother to look it up, but the novel that it's based on must have been prior to that. So the man was writing for a long, long time, just to say the least, which is very surprising. But yeah, we're talking about the 1957 film, 3:10 to Yuma, not the remake. The remake starring Russell Crowe. Yep. I've never seen that one. Have you? Have you seen the remake?
I've seen parts of it, not the whole thing.
Yeah. I've never checked it out for some reason. And so again, like, I kind of coming into this film, and I've never seen this original film either. But I'm coming into it kind of like without experience. I don't really have anything to compare it to. I don't know what the remake does or doesn't do well. And the surprising thing about this movie is that when you do look up online, the first things that you'll see come up are the remake, which is not often the case when you search movies. But maybe it's just recency bias of like it was released in 2007, so it's just a little bit more recent, and that's what you get. I'm going to do the same thing with True Grit and see what happens. Yeah, actually, you know what? Okay. So the same thing happens. You get the remake before you get the original, which I guess is just recency with Google. But I did find it interesting. Like, most of the things that you find is going to be about the remake 3:10 to Yuma and not the original. Even so, though, this movie has gotten, I feel like fairly recently, appreciated by a Criterion Collection release. It is in the Criterion Collection, and that's actually the version that I watched for this episode.
Wow.
So, what do you know about 3:10 to Yuma? What, and I mean the 1957 film. What, anything stand out to you? You hadn't seen it before, right?
Nope, I've heard it. Like I said, seen bits and pieces of the remake back in college. We on our college channel up in Oswego, like the dedicated one, they would have obviously Oswego broadcasting stuff, but they would put movies would be on there too, and usually it would be movies that were just recently like released in theaters. Not quite out on DVD yet, but just so like, because they would do movie nights there too, like at the campus center where you could go and see like a movie like Avatar when it first came out. Yeah, so like that kind of stuff like would circle onto the channel, like the channel there before stuff would get released. So 310 Yuma was one of those that like it just like randomly caught bits and pieces of and just like, huh, you know.
Gotcha.
And obviously, just as a general Western fan, have heard of the film and just never gotten a chance to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, the same for me. I've obviously heard of it. Growing up in our high school years in 2007 would have been, right at the time when we were seniors. I do remember the remake releasing, but never actually saw it. I find that the thing that really stands out to me the most about this movie is the title. The title is something that I think is like a kind of an attractive feature that it has. It's just sort of like makes you go, 310 to Yuma. That's it's like just an interesting idea. And
10 after to Yuma.
Yes, 10 after 3 to Yuma. I don't know if that one would have worked as well, or like a tenth of the hour to Yuma.
I do like the poster for this. It looks very, the movie poster. It looks
the classic one that kind of looks like it could be a Levi's advertisement.
That, or it looks like it could be also like a Akira Kurosawa doing like an American Western, like because of the way like it's kind of looks and stuff.
I do like that. But I agree. Like even like the red badge that it has, the 310 to Yuma reminds me of Levi's, and like it wouldn't surprise me that
or red stripe beer.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me that Levi's would want to get in on the let's advertise this film because of all the jean jackets and jeans and Canadian tuxedos that are going on in this film.
Well, it's the late 50s, rock and roll.
That's right. It definitely
everyone's got to have denim.
It seems like a Levi's moment that they should have just slapped an advertisement in here every now and then. But I mean, I do like the poster that is the traditional poster. There's like more revised posters for this film, which is actually appears on the like little card that we have, where it almost looks like a buddy comedy. The other one that I think is very horrible. It's where both Glenn Ford and Van Heflin are just on the cover, and he's kind of holding a shotgun to Glenn Ford. And that is a scene from the film, but the way that it's like just stuck on the poster artwork, it almost looks like a buddy comedy where they're both like, "Oh, these shucks, man," like you got me, and that's completely opposed to like the stylistic nature of this movie, which I think again the classic poster that you were talking about, it really does get to the sort of more serious nature of 310 to Yuma, which because I would say that this is not like a John Wayne film that we covered before, where it's certainly not as comedic and it has a very serious tone to it that pretty much goes throughout the film. So I do love that other cover though that looks like another fucking Bonanza Light sort of thing going on.
They're just buddies.
Yeah, that's right. They're just like, or it's almost like they got themselves into like one guy was robbing a bank, one guy was just happening to take his money out, and then they got together, and now they're they're unlikely duo, the odd couple, 310 to Yuma. But yeah, I like that.
Well, that looks like the Italian one, that yellow and blue one. So
yeah,
I mean, maybe that's why. Like, hey, they just the buddies.
Oh, that's it. That's even a different one. Yeah, the Italian-esque looking, very classic. Yeah, that one is a cool one too. That's like a different aesthetic even yet. But yeah. All right. Well, let's take a break real quick before we get into the full episode. Let's talk about the beer that we have on the show today. I'll let you take it away. You were the one that was picking it out. You give us the who, what, where, when, and why about the beer that we've got.
So today is another hot, scorching day. Nice, miserable day up in upstate New York. So I was looking for something a little more refreshing this time. And I saw at our local beer shop a brewery and a beer that we've never had before. And it's based out of Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. And it's Breckenridge Brewery, and it's their summer Cerveza salt and lime lager.
Yeah.
So they had me because, as you know from the podcast, and beers that we have done, we're big fans of the Cervezas with lime and salt. Delightful.
Absolutely.
Refreshing.
Yeah. Like a
the
nice
pack that I got when I got it,
You're
the
a little
12
bit
pack that I got.
concerned, right?
Well, because it was just like, one of those like weak and you're lifting it up and then like you can tell the fucking like paper on it is soft, like it's been sitting around. And it said the beer was best enjoyed by, because I was looking all over for it. And it was like tucked away like a fucking Indiana Jones trinket. But it said August 13th, 2026. And I was like, okay, so that's not too bad. Because sometimes what one of our local beer stores does, and I'm sure they're not the only one, they go out to like TJ's and shit, and they buy beer that's not selling there, shove it on their shelf, and like, hey, that's how you end up with like crap that you buy. Like, oh, that seems interesting. And you get home and you check, and it's like, that hasn't been out for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been swindled.
That is definitely a concern sometimes.
Yeah, so that's why. Because like I said, we've never seen Breckenridge. I don't know.
I have had a couple of Breckenridge type beers, yeah.
I'll have to do like a beer finder to see if they actually what their distribution looks like around here.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I mean, like on that, I was like, okay, good. Well, it's good enough to give it a shot, and I am happy to say it's a wonderful, refreshing summer Cerveza. It's got all the right little hints. It's got that Vienna lager malt. That's got a nice little breadiness and toastiness to it. Nice lime kick to it. It's not artificial. And the salt, wraps up and pairs it well and gives it a nice, electrolyte feeling to it. Like you're getting, your blood replenished. So.
Yeah. Nice little refresher. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know if I would go ahead and say, go hydrate yourself with this thing, but
I would. Why not?
Because it's literally the opposite, doing the opposite.
It's water.
Yeah. But like I said, I've had a couple Breckenridges before. I don't know why and when and which kinds off the top of my head, but definitely have seen it a couple times. Not super common around here though. Mostly the thing that stands out to me is like their little logo, which has like the B and the B backwards. I've seen that before, but this one I've never haven't seen it. But like you said, we are big fans of the summer cerveza style. We always try to find those types of nice light limey beers, especially around the summertime. So it's a perfect time for that. And I think they've done a really good job with the summer cerveza. It's nice, like you said. It's got like nice little crispness to it. That salt kind of gives it a nice little I don't know, umami to it. Nice little salty brine. The lime does come out, stands out. The beer itself has a solid backbone to it. Overall, really nice, refreshing beer. You can drink a number of, I would say. This one, it has another thing that goes in its favor in that it's coming in a 12-pack instead of a 4-pack of something that you're like going to run out of very quickly. So I do appreciate that as well. So it has a lot going for it. Overall, really solid style. Again, it's not like something that you've never had before, but for the type and style, I think they've done a good job with that salt and lime flavor, and it brings out the best in that cerveza. No lime needed. No, don't need to add one. No, it's already got the flavor towards the forefront. So yeah, I think they did a really good job with that. I was actually looking on the can, and I don't know if I'm just blind or what, but I cannot actually find the alcohol percentage on it.
5%. It's 5%.
It's 5%. Okay, yeah, I couldn't.
That was on the box.
Oh, it's on the box. Yeah, I really don't think it's on the can anywhere. Apparently, in Colorado, they don't need to specify on the individual can packaging. So, yeah, it's kind of absent on there. But yeah, 5% is really not too bad for a.
Oh wait, no, it's on the can too.
Oh, is it? Where is it? I'm missing.
It's right on the top ribbon over the.
Oh, okay, I see. It's like kind of
it's
kind of
very
hidden by the silvery text on it. Okay, yep, 5%.
My can, I don't know if your can is, but my can is glistening from the heat. So yeah, that's tucked right away.
Right. Yeah, it's very difficult to find. To be honest with you, I am sitting in a fairly dark area as well, so it was not readily available. But yeah, I like it. I would definitely get it again. I think it's a solid summer beer. You know, bring it to parties. If you go to those types of things, I don't. So,
well, who does? We're 40.
That's right.
Those days are over.
A little too old for that now.
You didn't. Oh, you didn't party when you were younger? Oh, well, too bad.
That's right. All right. Well, let's talk about 310 to Yuma. So
310 to Yuma.
That's right. Yeah. So the idea behind 310 to Yuma is that that's a train. If you weren't aware of what that is referring to, 310 to Yuma is the time. 310.
You know, from the opening song.
Yeah, right. If you didn't know from the title, the opening theme is definitely going to give it away.
It's basically like Smokey and the Bandit.
Sure. Yeah.
Bandits.
It's another one of those things that were like written for the film. They were like, listen, the people watching this movie, they want a little bit of information about what they're about to, what they should expect. So please craft a song, and the lyrics basically just tell what's going to happen in the movie.
Because they might get bored, busy, and leave, go down to the malt shop. So you want.
I feel like that happened less in the 50s than it does now, where like Netflix is having their CEO say like, please write films where they literally say the themes out loud, so that people scrolling their phones or when they look up every now and then they'll be like, oh, okay, I know what's happening. Yeah, thanks for the info. So in the 50s, I feel like that was a little bit less common for somebody to be distracted by something else. But maybe, maybe they were just...
No, I agree, because they're doing double features and, stuff too. Like,
True.
You got,
that's what you had to do during the afternoon.
You have fucking epics coming out, like Ben-Hur, like, got 7 hours to burn today. Like,
that's right, yeah. What else?
Going down to what are you doing? Oh, going down to the theater.
Yeah, and I think they knew that. They knew everybody had nothing else to do, so they, But again, I think the idea behind it, like that soundtrack element, that's not uncommon. That was a very, very much used even up until the 80s of just like having a theme song. I think when we did Hi Mom, that kind of parodied that a little bit, where it was, it's almost like a goofball version of the soundtrack that would tell you exactly what was going to happen in the movie. But yeah, in here, you've got this, we're in a Western setting. We're in does it say exactly where we are?
Somewhere in Arizona.
Yeah, somewhere very, very dry and arid where it has not rained in quite some time. And the idea behind that is that everybody is really struggling in this area, especially considering a lot of places are trying to farm. And it's sort of the similar idea of like in McClintock, where they were like, you're going to come and farm out here? Like, that's a bad idea, man. And this is the same idea.
It's not bad for me because I own the fucking town. Yeah, you own everything. But for you.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same idea here is that, we've got a farmer, cattle rancher type guy named Dan, played by Van Heflin.
Is he Dirty Dan?
Yeah, he's Dan Evans, which is again, a very, an expected type of name for someone like that. Dan Evans over there is running a cattle farm.
And he looks pissed.
Yes, and he does. Yeah, he has a very severe brow and everything because of his hairline is so high up on his head. He's just very severe. And
what he looks like? An older version of the kid from The Sandlot. Like his great grandfather was a cattle rancher.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
the big big curly kid.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah, he's owning a cattle farm and it's not doing well. And his wife is not hesitant to point that out. Dan, what are we going to do, Dan? It hasn't rained, Dan. How come this other guy's not having his struggles with the cattle farm like you are, Dan? And
he set up shop near a creek.
Yeah. He had the smart sense to actually have a creek near him that doesn't run dry. So, he must have had smarts going on or something. Dan just didn't have that going for him. So, but anyway, that's kind of the whole crux of the position here is that everybody's struggling. And then you got Ben Wade's gang, Ben played by Glenn Ford here. And they are at the outset of this film are basically just roaming around the area, terrorizing people, terrorizing stagecoaches, holding them up. And at the beginning, there's this pretty awesome scene where, in kind of surprisingly violent, where they hold up the stagecoach and the driver actually takes one of Ben Wade's guys hostage. And he's like, I'm going to shoot this guy. And Ben Wade's like, no, you're not, because I am. And he just fucking shoots the hostage and then shoots the driver of the stagecoach. And he like washes his hands of it. Like, done. We're done.
Well, when you have 14 guys fucking following you.
That's true.
And you're robbing a stage, full of gold, I guess. Like, you might as well be like, yeah, like the Joker. Like, yeah, there's one less, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a pretty surprising moment right at the beginning of the film, which I actually quite liked, that you kind of see this like very bloodthirsty man who's, again, like the film is kind of going to paint this picture later on of, like, well, maybe he's got a soft side, Ben, he likes the women, so he's got a little bit of a softy nature to him. But like at the outset, I thought it was a really cool moment, and it kind of speaks to some of the other things that Elmore Leonard would go on to do, like I said, like Justified. And again, he wasn't like a showrunner on that or anything. It's just based on his stories, but it definitely reminded me of it, and I thought it was a really cool way to open the film. And that's where you kind of get this idea that you have this foil character of Ben who's like, will literally do anything, right? And then you have Dan who's on the outside and sees all this happening right at the beginning, and they even steal his horses, and he's just kind of like, well, shucks, well, darn, and his sons are standing there like, Pa, you're not going to let him do that, are you? Pa, why would you let him do that?
That's one thing about like this era of films that I can't fuking stand. The Leave It to Beaver, like, golly gee willikers, Pa, what you gonna do? Pa gonna come and get you. We had to go home, didn't we? We had to, yes sir, because Dad said, Pa said that if we didn't do that, like, shut the beat kids like with a rubber hose, and like
the kids really bothered you.
Yes, it's annoying. Like, you can see it in his eyes, like he wants to beat the living piss out of them.
Yeah. That is a funny thing, because in the movie later on, Ben Wade will say to Dan, he'd be like, wow, it must be really nice to come home to your two boys and be able to take them out on the ranch and stuff like that. And Dan doesn't really say anything because, like, just like you're saying, he's probably thinking down deep in his soul, he's like, no, it's not going to come down to these fucking kids, and they just
gotta listen to the little one constantly like, Pa, is that a rattlesnake over there, Pa? Oh, gee, Pa, what do you think one down, Bill? Pa, sounds like a fucking cork gun. Pa.
It's true. What do you think about that opening scene, though? Like, I mean, I definitely agree with Dan. There's really not that much that one dude with two boys is going to do in this situation. Like, what was he supposed to do? He's out in the open. It's not like he can pull a Patriot. He's not a Mel Gibson character jumping from tree to tree like we talked about.
Yeah, no, his wife and kids want him dead because they're like, and you stood there and didn't do anything. And it's like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, he didn't have a gun on him.
Right, yeah. Like, I do think that's pretty funny.
The only thing you can argue against him was he saw them like robbing the stage. He should just, before they even took notice, turned around and been like, all right.
Right. The smart thing, the courageous thing to do would have been to just take your horses and turn tail and be like, well, look, I've got my two kids with me here. I'm out of here.
Well, the cows, I mean, because the cattle are on the other side. That's why they're looking.
Sure.
Like, I mean, which, back in the day, that would have been a lot of money that he's like losing. Well, you can tell by Ben's gang, it's not like they're robbing gold. They're also they're like, by the way, we're going to take these cows too. Woo-hoo, ride them into beef.
Yeah.
Just so, I would have been like, what, the cows will be there. We'll go back, like,
right. Yeah. We'll get them.
We'll like look off to the side, wait for them to ride off, and then we'll ride down and be like, hey, you guys okay? Yeah, I saw someone get shot. sorry. Yeah.
Totally.
What are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah, totally agree. I think, I totally understand. And that this idea of the man who didn't jump in and, risk his life for a bunch of strangers rolling in on a stagecoach is going to be the sort of inciting moment in Dan's life and his, the reason why he begins to set out to be the person who brings down Ben Wade and his gang. It's part of this film's what I would call toxic masculinity, really. It's the idea that, like, you got to be the hero, and if you're not, then what really are you living your life for? Which I think to some extent the film does try to do. Like, it kind of does both things, right? Like, it does have a moment where the wife is really like, wow, you didn't do anything? Like, you really should have. And then basically says, like, our life is really hard and you're not really doing anything to help it. And at the same time, later on, it tries to kind of circumvent that and say, like, well, listen, the wife comes back and says, maybe I didn't mean what I said. Like, I like our hard life, and it's not really like she's almost apologizing, but it's like kind of like a hollow one, because she's saying, like, I love doing all this very hard work with you, because we have a nice family, and even though it's hard and other people don't have to do it, and I'm looking at my neighbor and they don't have to do it, but we do, I still love our life, and it's sort of a hollow sort of, apology. But I do think that this film has a sort of toxic masculinity to it that runs through and is sort of, it's probably part of the time period of the 50s.
That's why when I go to the office, honey, I stay with Cheryl.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think it's partly the 50s. I think it's partly the actual time period of the American Western is sort of like imagining this heroicism of the Western era. And then also, I think it is partly just the idea that it's men's work to be the hero and to as the protagonist of this film, you don't really want a milquetoast guy who's kind of like, oh, that's too bad that they robbed this town, but like, I've got things going on. Okay, I've got cow to herd and stuff. So what do you think about that though? Like, how do you think that the film is kind of toxically masculine here? Is this?
Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
It definitely is. Because by the end, especially when she's like pleading with him, like, I'll give you a hand job. Just don't go out there and get yourself killed. We don't have life insurance. So he's like, I got it. I have to do it.
Yeah.
Because like it's wrapped up in like moral, like him being moral. And like one of the two people that are the more morality of the film, because it's him, the drunk.
Right. Right.
And everyone else is,
that
up
is
for it until like they're like, oh, it looks like this might be a little
yeah.
Gotta go.
That is the other thing too, is that it does offer this sort of morality of almost like a black and white good versus evil, right? Like, there are people roaming around like Ben Wade's gang who are just taking whatever they feel like in this time period. And then you have people that will maybe stand up for that. And the kind of the soapbox that he gets on is that, like, I've got to be one of those upholders of benevolence, and that, like, we need people to live in peace around here. I'm not going to allow some gang to come through the town and, just do whatever they want to because they feel like they can. So
I love that apparently he's Ben Wade is such a badass. He's already broken out of Yuma, before.
Yes, yeah.
Like, what's the bounty? Like, you don't see anybody be like a bounty. Like, when like they tell the marshal's like, oh, that is Ben Wade. Like, oh, maybe I should do something.
Right, I do. I do find that interesting. Like, because when these guys come into town, they like to call them an outfit in this movie. They like that's the word that they use for gang. Is outfit. Apparently,
well, if it's above 6,
yes, yeah.
Hold on. If it's above 6, it's a posse.
Okay.
It's if above 8,
You got an outfit.
it's a gang.
Oh,
You
okay.
got 12 men. Like and up and like a baker's dozen, like they do in this film. It's an outfit.
You have to think, though. You have to wonder, is Ben that good of a gang leader if he needs an entire 12-man group to be robbing places? Like, what kind of take are they individually getting from this? Because, you know what I mean? Like,
they're getting a can of Bush beans.
Right, and sharing one bottle of whiskey around, because, like, there's also a really funny scene at the beginning where they kind of roll into town and they're in the saloon, and the one woman who's all a fluster because of Ben Wade in there, Felicia Farr's character, Emmy, she just goes up and down the line of, like, filling shot glass over and over again, which, you know, again, is pretty funny. I do love the whole idea of, like, in these films that, like, no one had, like, a larger cup. It was, like, always like, I'll have 4 shot glasses, please, you know, and you know, over and over again, they just down them one by one.
Which is, I'm just like, I think of like, it's Arizona. It's like 90 degrees out.
Yep.
And these assholes are downing a shot of, like,
yeah,
with like 4
you're like, you know
and
what'll
3
quench me? A shot of whiskey, rye whiskey, please. Yeah. And not only that too, but like we talked about the whole like denim get-ups that they're wearing. Like Ben Wade specifically is wearing like this really tight leather jean jacket, riding through this very dry, super hot climate, like chafing all over.
It looks like a corduroy undershirt that he's wearing.
Yeah,
too. I don't know if it is, but it looks. That's also why they're called they're an outfit. They're all fucking dressed like they're going to Broadway. Like, we're in a show.
Right, almost like, like,
you know, fucking Oklahoma. Because they're like, got like all their hats. Like I was telling you on the phone, like they got such little queer little hats. Like they just all wear these little tiny hats and they're off to the side, you know. It's
and
like,
everybody has like a slightly different one too. Like they you know, it's like if you show up and you're like, hey Ben, what do you think my new hat is? Like, whoa, now I have
that
the same
looks
style.
like my
I have the same style of 10-gallon hat. You're gonna need to go back and get that redone because you know you can't have the same curl on your side hat.
Who's the fucking leader of this outfit?
Yeah, it's
you are. That's right, and that means you don't wear my hat.
It does remind of like Western West Side Story when they roll into the saloon. You know what I mean? Like they're going to start, you know, snapping as they walk in. You know, it does. It does. It is funny, but
you know what's funny too? I just saw like the other day. I totally forgot about the skit, the SNL skit with fucking Norm Macdonald and like Chris Kattan and them. Like, Jets, we're gonna do it tonight. He's like, whoa. Why the hell are you singing?
It's true.
Yeah, like,
true.
I just came off the cuff. Yeah, but like both of you are like singing at the same time. Like, that's really weird.
Yeah. I mean, and I say that like kind of lovingly because I do think that the outfit in this film is somewhat menacing. Like they do, the film does a pretty good job of cementing like a suspense to it. You know, especially when they're all sitting there in the saloon and the marshal comes out and there's like this obvious tension of like, well, these guys don't look like they're really up to any good. But the marshal is sort of like, I don't know. They told me that the gang went that way. So, you know, I guess I'll believe them.
That's the other great thing too. Wake the marshal and tell him what happened. Well, he's taking a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you wake him and tell him? Tell him that like a man's been killed. Oh, it's a murder, not just theft. Now I have to wake him up.
Yeah, right. Like
if it's theft, he said just let him sleep in his room. But if it's a murder,
yeah.
And why is the marshal's office attached to the fucking saloon? Like, is it
because the marshal needs, you know, like he needs
quick
direct access. Yeah. You know, the only thing more direct would be like if he had a barrel in his room, you know, just a whiskey barrel, just dip right in. But no, the whole marshal thing, I do think is a little bit silly with them rolling in and be like, a man was killed out there. I don't know. We tried to, you know, here we are, strangers, 12 strangers rolling into town, never seen these guys before in our lives. Ben Wade's gang is apparently well known enough where, Dan Evans' character seems to know who they are immediately. And the marshal's like, that's weird. These guys show up, stagecoach robbed and a murder's happened. I don't know. Weird turn of events there.
It's like a Don Knotts bit. Like,
yeah.
When they're like, no, that was the fucking Ben Wade, you asshole. That
is true. Yeah, that kind of turns out like sort of like a goofy comedic thing where they're like, oh, we just left town and they were there. Yeah, and they scattered. I don't know.
Don't know if they're gonna rape all the women and children,
Yeah. Well, I will say that I do think that Glenn Ford does a pretty good job as Ben Wade. I think he sells this very sinister, but also kind of like charming and kind of aloof sort of performance where he's almost mischievous, right? Like he's kind of got this sort of like, I just want to see what's going to happen type of persona about him, which I think he does pretty well.
Anarchistic, yeah, and it's done really well too because it's not done in the time period where you could just be like, I'm gonna motherfucker kill like motherfuckers, like
he doesn't have the leather jacket and switchblade to that the 80s had of
to be menacing, like he's menacing by the way he's like, yeah, your mom, she I used to know a girl in San Francisco. She had nice green eyes. I love that one.
Yeah. I think he does a great job. Like he's got that sinisterness to him. And again, throughout most of the movie, we really don't get to see him do that much. Like I said, at the beginning of the film, he does shoot that guy. He shoots his own guy. But after that, we really don't get to see him do all that much besides kind of be captive. And he does a couple of like try to quick fakes to get out of his captivity. But for the most part, everything that he's giving off is more like just personality wise. I think that the film tries to go in some weird directions, like the beginning where he's seducing the saloon, the barkeeper. I feel like it's super unnecessary. She disappears and nowhere to be seen after that. But it's sort of like an aside to the fact that like, oh, he's also a romantic at heart, and he maybe he does want to just settle down and have a wife and not really be an outlaw anymore. I feel like it's kind of wasted. And that is one of my complaints about the film in general, is that overall, and this may be sort of like just a overall like moralistic frame of mind, but I find that 3:10 to Yuma ends on a sort of unnecessarily uplifting moment that sees the best in people in a sort of naive way. And I understand why they do that, because you want the hero to win, especially in the 50s. That's sort of the idea behind these types of movies. I feel like it's super naive to the way that this movie ends. And we talked about this off air, but the overall idea that happens at the end is very dissatisfying during the
you have all that tension and build up. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Dawn of the Dead's ending, the original Romero one.
Right.
With like how bleak the film is, and Ben sitting there with the gun in his head. Is he going to kill himself? And then, let's put the A-Team music on and
everybody's saved.
And everything. It's the same thing here too, because again, it's a 12-man outfit. You mean to tell me not one of these fucks could, get a shot in to take Ben out? I mean, to take Dan out?
It is pretty funny. Like the ending,
it's like so unserious and stupid. Same thing too. Oh yeah, we're the baddest gang in all land. Oh my God, he's got a horse. I know it's taboo to kill horses.
Yeah, right.
Like this gang of villains.
Yeah,
that's where the moral compass is. They're like,
I definitely agree with that. I think like the film's conclusion, like I will say the waiting for the 310 to Yuma, I think is really good. It's got a nice tension to it. The buildup is great, suspenseful. There's sort of this paranoia of like, not really sure what's going to happen. That works really well for the film. And seeing as that's the crux of the movie is waiting for that 310 to Yuma, I think that for the most part is really done quite well. The problem is that ending where you have a lot of this very stupid turn of events that occur. Like there's one of Ben's outfit is over on the roof, got a clear shot into the window and misses completely. Like Dan's not even aware that the guy's there, and he takes a shot and misses. Or you have the other thing where like Dan's got his back turned to a guy on the opposite side of the road, and he takes a shot and misses. At a certain point, you have to sit down and be like, "Listen, Ben, you guys need target practice desperately. Like you cannot be an outfit if you're this bad of a shot. Like that's just like rule number one of having an outfit is like you do target practice." Every 9 o'clock on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday is target practice for
you
these
can't
guys.
be in the outfit if you can't,
That's right, yeah. And I think that's like one of the silly things about this movie is like
you would think they were using like 15th century like Chinese like muskets like just
why'd you miss? Like, I don't know. It just the gun didn't even I don't know. Just recoiled too much, but yeah, I think
the same thing too. Though, like the few shots that Dan takes, he's fucking like Shooter McGavin. Like he's
right, yeah. On the opposite spectrum, our hero can't miss. Our hero is hitting everybody no matter what, and I do think that's a little bit silly. Like again, it's sort of like the idea behind these action movies where the hero has to win, but I think it plays off a little bit goofballish towards the end and kind of takes away from the seriousness of the movie. Same thing. Sorry.
No, like it's just the same thing too with the whole like as you're talking about with like the morals, like because he's the moral man. Ben's trying to buy him out. Like at first he's like $2,000, $5,000. I'll give you $10,000 fucking dollars. And we already know from the drought and stuff and hearing Dan's troubles. Like he needs, he originally went into the town to get $200 as a loan to try to survive because, his cows are going to die and they're going to lose everything. And it hasn't rained in 2 fucking years. And you see him like constantly like being juxtaposed with that and, the morality of it. And at the end, like it's just like, just like this one big kind of like just, don't worry, guys. If you hold on long enough, there'll come a payday. And do the right thing. Like,
I do think that is funny too. That the idea that he's got to go into town and get a loan, and that they're offering this money to him to join the outfit. I feel like at the end of the day, you wouldn't really trust a guy like that. For one thing, like I don't know that it would even really run through your mind, but. There is a sort of morality play here that it's like, do I take money? Do I, am I just here for the good of the cause? I think at the end of the day, like the one thing that really sways you a little bit is that like when the mayor guy comes in and he's like, listen, you've done your duty, man. Like we'll even give you the $200. Like just get the fuck out of here. Right. Like you've done enough here. Which I think is, probably one of the coolest things about this movie is that like, and probably the most unrealistic too is that you've got this mayor character who's like, no, listen.
He's the guy, Mr. Butterfield. He's the guy that owns the coach that got.
That's right. Yeah, the coach. Yeah. He's like, listen, we'll just pay you anyway. Like you've done enough here. Like that's super unrealistic. I feel like no one would do that. But
Mister, I'm a white man.
That's right. Yeah.
If I'm told I'm getting paid to do the work,
I'm doing it. Yeah.
I have to do the work. Or my wife won't let me poke at her boobies. So, I have to. No, you don't. Like, we'll just give you... No, you don't understand.
Well, don't you love the fact that the wife actually comes in with a coach? She's been like chasing them down to this contention where they're waiting for the kids on Yuma.
Who's watching the kids at home? Yeah, it's okay.
Well,
they're just sitting at home going, Pa, Pa.
Right. And that also reminds you of the whole morality of this that sort of seems unrealistic as well. In that the kids and the one of the bank owners that he was going to get the loan from was like talking about Dan's life and told the whole story, like the whole life story of his life. They're like, oh yeah, he grew up in Utah and he's got 2 kids and a wife back home. And, like if anybody really wanted to do some damage to Dan, like they should just go to his house and, molest his wife and, murder his children. Like that would really fuck him up. And, like
Henry Fonda's sitting there taking notes for Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
Like
it's hilarious because like they literally go through that and you just expect Dan to be like, would you shut the fuck up? Like stop telling him my life story over here while this criminal is sitting in custody.
Now, by the way, you wouldn't know it, but he also has a mistress. She lives down there. If you really want to get to him,
that's what right. You want. Yeah,
like like at the whole dinner scene where the kids are like, "My pa can kill you at any time, my pa," boop, 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 boop. And like it's like just like shut. Like he's looking at him, and it's like again like it's the 50s. You can strike the child. Like
let's be honest though, that's not the part of the dinner that bothered you. The part of the dinner that bothered you is that they're calling what they have stew.
It's true.
They don't have stew. They have like a roast.
They have cut beef and potatoes.
Right, because they even make mention of the fact that he's got to cut up his meat. That's not a stew. At least not in my book. It's not a stew.
No,
I don't know.
Not.
Maybe was that a stew back in back in the day? I don't know.
No, I played Red Dead Redemption 2. That's no stew that Pearson ever made.
I agree with you. A stew entails some sort of
doesn't even look like
soup.
It doesn't look like Dinty Moore or anything.
No,
it's just it's it's just like a pot roast. Like they got a pot roast. Like here's some some shredded beef and your potatoes.
That right there, loses 1 whole star rating. For that. That's not a stew. I'd still eat it though. I'm not gonna
I did find it great and funny when like he was like Dan offers to cut Ben's meat. And he's like, oh yeah, you gotta eat. And he's like, oh, by the way, Dan, can you cut the fat off?
Yeah. Yes.
I can't eat the gristle.
It is great though. Yeah. Like that is again, it's a nice touch from Ben Wade as a person. It's just like this. He's pushing it. He's just pushing as far as he can go. And I do appreciate that part of the movie of this character, which I do think ends up being to the film's detriment in the conclusion, because the conclusion just kind of comes off as very hackneyed and rushed. It's just kind of like all of a sudden Ben's like, you know what? I want to be a better guy. I don't know. I like you. I like you, Dan. I want to be a better guy. So I'm going to, go to Yuma and I'll have to break out again, but no problem. I'm doing this for you, Dan. And
I would have appreciated it more if he jumped off.
Mm-hmm. Like at the end, it was just like, yeah, I did it for you. I didn't want you to I didn't like what they say. Yeah. It's like, I didn't want you to get cut in half. Or
whatever. I didn't want my men to kill you. I didn't want my outfit to kill you.
But I'm out of here. I'm like, yeah.
Like, I would have had a little bit more respect for the film if that's how it
it would have been hilarious. I understand why this would not happen, but it would have been hilarious if he jumped off the train, met up with Dan's wife in the stagecoach, and they both took off. Because in the movie, she's like, especially at the dinner scene, she's like ogling Ben, because he's like, oh, she's got green eyes, and she's just kind of like, all a fluster and.
Well, as you said, when they return home without the horses, you're like, well, you can see on her look at her face. She's dried up.
She's just completely dried up. How Dan acts.
When they're like, where's your horses? A bully took them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does remind me of the fucking I don't know, you probably haven't seen it, but the episode of Louis, where Louis they're in like a restaurant and he's getting bullied by like these teenage kids, and like they're like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna beat me up? You're gonna beat me up?" And he like doesn't do anything. And then he's on a date, and the date is like, "Listen, I was really turned off by the fact that like you got bullied by these people." And so, and it's kind of like this whole idea of like, it definitely, the film reminds me of that to like the nth degree of like,
is Louis just Curb, but with a guy
kind of, yeah. I mean,
to just masturbate in front of people.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes, of course. That I watched that before that came out, so I'll
he's still funny.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, I do love that episode though, because I do also I can somewhat relate to that. Like, I'm not a fighter. I can relate to the idea of like, well, when do you fight back? And that's kind of the whole idea of 310 to Yuma. When do you fight back? Like, what is worth fighting for? And we talked about it a little bit, but I do think it's toxic to a certain extent. It's the sort of stereotypical idea of masculinity. This film has a lot of it. Even to the point of like the things that we find or traits that we have previously found masculine, like smoking or like, sharing a cig. I think all of those things
two men having a good cigarette sharing.
I think you mean two men having a fag. It's fostering the love interest that later on, that's why they get on the train together. They're like, listen, we're going off.
We don't need women.
Yeah, we don't need women. We're two manly men. We're going off but with ourselves, I love men so much. I love you, man. But yeah.
Come here, give big kiss.
That's right. What else? What else can we talk about? The soundtrack is pretty prevalent throughout this movie. What do you think about the soundtrack?
Yeah. It's like a little, like I said, like a little 250s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, like, like inappropriate, like operatic.
Sure.
It's not bad. Like, again, like the theme's not bad either. Even though we're taking the piss out of it, for being the trailer for the film, just like, spelling everything out in detail. But it is like, it's catchy. It's like Ghost Riders in the Sky, basically. Like,
sort of. Yeah. It's got that. Yeah.
It's got like, some of the hooks from that, like, kind of in it. It's not bad, but it's not anything that I'd ever sit down and be like, "Hey guys, have you ever sat and listened to the 310 to Yuma soundtrack?"
That's right, yeah.
It's just not, yeah.
Now on Columbia Records. It literally was, though. It is Columbia Records that had that theme song. It said courtesy of Columbia Records, just so you know. There probably is a 310 to Yuma soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, like, the film, like, again, like, for a 90-minute film, it's well-paced, and the action is incredibly backlogged into the final scene. The tension, like the parts where the film is hitting its beats and notes, it does a great job. As you said, like, with the detriments to it, then, they're glaring and obvious. It's definitely a flawed film, but a fun film, and it makes me, kind of want to watch the remake now, because it seems like people have hold that in higher esteem, and
yeah, apparently,
see what they do with that,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that it's interesting to see that the remake is maybe a little bit more popular now than the movie from the 50s. We'll have to see what that's like. I am assuming it has a lot more action to it, is one thing. This movie is much more slowly paced in terms of suspense, and just kind of niggling, sort of like getting at the crux of Dan as a character. Like, that's sort of the idea of Ben Wade as a person, is that he's just sort of is able to kind of get into the psyche of a person and, kind of dig in, which I think is really interesting for the movie. But again, it really, the action takes a backseat until the end, which I will say, though, I think that the cinematography is pretty impressive. The gunfight sequence where they shoot the guy off the roof, Well, I was like, man, that guy died. That stunt double died, man. He lay. There's literally
they didn't have the squibs or anything back then.
Yeah,
so they're like, all right, you're gonna have to fall from that roof onto that roof. And then
I mean, that was a pretty impressive fall. Like he literally just falls off one roof onto another roof, takes a hard fall onto that roof, then falls off onto the ground. I was very impressed by that stunt double. I probably should look and make sure that they didn't die during the filming.
The one shot of the guy, the coach, and I think you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. It looked like they showed like a bullet hole for him when he got shot.
Yeah, maybe.
In the head.
Mhm.
But it's like a split second. I don't know if I actually saw that or if I had a fever dream and it just kind of came to me. But
it is quick when they show like the shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the cinematography is actually really quite good. Even like sort of the crane shots that they get of like the, rising up over the riders. It's all really nice. One thing that I thought was really great too is the horse riding when especially during the conclusion where some of Ben Wade's men are coming in and they like are fucking galloping with their horse and then jump off like mid gallop. It's really nice too.
Yeah. That's something that I love to do in Red Dead 2, that when I was playing Red Dead 1, like, you can't really do and piss me off. Like, riding and like, it'll like come to like a slow and then like, you'll kind of just magically poof off and it's like, oh God.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that's pretty impressive riding, to be honest with you. I thought that was, that's good for some of the extras that they got in the film. So I thought that was nice too. What else? Anything else that we didn't discuss here?
Ben Wade likes fat chicks.
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what the point of that whole story was when he's telling it, but he's like, yeah, the fat girl, singing the songs. Yeah, I spent $300 on her. You used to sing there too, right? Well, that wasn't you, though. It's just such a weird, like...
Doesn't need a point.
Like, I don't know about you, but before a man comes up and hits on me, when he goes up and goes, I spent $300 on someone more beautiful than you before coming up to you. Wouldn't you like my company? Like, it's not going to make me feel pretty.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, we got to give 310 to Yuma rating. So, on a scale of...
Which, by the way...
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Train is arriving at 310.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to work that out. That's stupid. Why not 3? Why not 315?
Like, why did they...
Yeah.
Yeah, the same idea is like when Ben offers him $7,000, and then he's like, you know what, 10,000 be easier for me. I count by tens. Like that is true. Why would you offer 7,000? Like what possessed you to pick that number of all numbers? $7,000. I agree. Why 310? Get it on the hour or not? Get
Look,
that train.
I know time districts were invented because of trains. But still, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Get it rolling.
But no, it is a great film name, though. 310 to Yuma.
Yeah, it's just got a nice little ring to it. It's the same as the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like the same idea of like, it gets you curious. Like, I wonder what that's about. I like it.
The Taking of Pelham 123. No, you're supposed to say 1, 2, 3.
That's right. So, on a scale of 0 to 10 of random men sitting in your hotel room, sleeping it off on a couch that you're not even remotely concerned about, what would you give 310 to Yuma?
Oh, that's one thing we did forget to mention, the fucking that whole bit where the fucking
the guy's like, where'd my lady run off to?
Yeah.
Why'd they do that? Treat her that badly.
Yeah, why do women do that? Why'd they run off on us? I don't know. My wife ran off on me too. I didn't hit her that hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's just Like, it's just like, I don't know, like, like thinking about it, like in the 50s, like, what is it, like, I don't like,
Was that a joke? Was
like,
it? Yeah. Was it a?
like,
Was it?
imagine like going to like the film with your wife, or like, oh, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you later. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that was really funny. Like, I don't hear it. I don't hurt. Give it a 7 out of 10. Good movie. It's enjoyable, quick, brisk. It's not action packed. It's backloaded on that end, but the psychological story that's told by what Dan sees, what he needs, and what he does, to try to help himself and his family by taking on Ben, and the story that's told throughout that middle 2/3 is really engaging and good. And Glenn Ford, as you were saying, does a terrific job. He's a great anarchistic, presence, knows how to, kind of, be manipulative and sinister, but not in a way that's, stupid. I think Van Heflin, he does a good job. I wouldn't say he's near as good as Glenn Ford. At times he's a little too weird and kind of, it just doesn't really like hit the note, like, cause when you have there's sometimes like he's like fine, and then like other times where like he's like fine, he's grounded, and all of a sudden like one wry comment's made and he's like, I'm gonna fucking tell everybody, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But the film's basically like it's like a Tennessee Williams play almost, because it's a 2-man show. It's just those two. Everyone else is just background. But it's a good film. It's enjoyable. It's got the problems that we brought up, but I think if you like traditional American Western, check it out. It's definitely worth a watch, and appraisal.
Yeah, I mean, what score did you end up giving it?
7.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I think it was a pretty enjoyable film. Like I said, it's a brisk movie, 90 minutes. It's really gets in and gets out. It does a good job of setting that tension up. I think that ultimately that idea behind the two guys is a really interesting dynamic. It just doesn't play out that well towards the end. And I think that's really based on, individual moralistic elements, whether you find that naive or not to believe that he would eventually turn his evil ways into, good-natured element. I think that's probably going to depend on the viewer as to how willing they are to believe that. But I think that overall, the movie is really a fun movie. I think it has a nice sort of melancholy tone to it throughout, and I just enjoyed it. I think they did a really good job, and for something from 57 like this, I think it does showcase a really nice cinematic experience that is sort of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. So I did really enjoy it. I do think it makes sense that it is a classic Western. And I would recommend it, for people who do like Westerns. I think that it's one of the better ones that I've seen that are older style American Western films. So I'm going to give it an 8. All right. Well, that does it for our episode on 310 to Yuma. Thanks for listening. Again, we're going to have one more episode next week. And we haven't announced the film yet. It's not part of our little diagram of movies that we're doing for Red Hot Action Summer. So it's a mystery. But,
Django Unchained.
It isn't. I can say for sure that it is not Django Unchained. Although I haven't seen it, and we probably should do it at some point. But
I wouldn't even need to watch Django Unchained. I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do that from.
I will say it is a contemporary American Western. It's not, it's not from an older time period. It is contemporary. So that's
Cowboys and Aliens. I got it right.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Does anyone remember that?
No, I didn't watch it. I just know it's bad.
No, I mean, I'm not saying you. I'm saying just anyone.
Just anyone.
Remember. What the hell is the Johnny Depp movie? Where he's Tonto?
Lone Ranger.
Yeah,
Lone Ranger remake that they did there. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. It's not that either. We already have it picked out. So
it's Zorro. We're going to Mexico.
That's right. But no, we'll be back next week with that episode. That'll finish out our Red Hot Action Summer. So,
and then we're done with the show.
That's it.
We're giving it up.
And end of show. Just kidding. We'll have our Halloween episodes after that. So you'll want to stick around for all that's to come on Blood and Black Rum Podcast. If you like what you hear, you should subscribe to us on pretty much any podcast app you can think of. We're on our Apple Podcasts, our home base at Spotify, whatever you use, I'm sure we're on it. So subscribe, leave us a nice review. That always helps us out. We are on Facebook and Blue Sky. Just search for us on there, Blood and Black Rum Podcast. Like and subscribe and follow and whatever you do on there. We also have an email address at bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com where you can write to us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what movies you want us to watch. We'll take that into consideration. Also, you can donate to us on our Patreon page. Anything you donate goes back towards beer, so we appreciate that in advance. Thanks for listening to our episode on 310 to Yuma. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you make your train. Hopefully it didn't make you late. And until next time.
Take care.